Welcome back, True Seeker. A lot of new people are here and they're saying they don't understand the notes I leave for baseball. So, what I know is you guys aren't watching the videos I'm putting out. And do realize I'm giving you guys valuable information that you can make successful picks off every single day if you know how to look at this. But I'm also trying to teach you how to do this. And for those of you who aren't taking advantage of that, you really are missing the opportunity of a lifetime and you really should turn into my shows. There's a gentleman who calls almost every day who's super thankful, who started following me after the Super Bowl, and he's been watching this every day like he's in class, and because he already has good gambling knowledge, he's now making record profit. And that is the whole point of this work, to help you win each day and to teach you how to do this so that you can use your own mind to do better than you've ever done before. Because that's what every single person does who invests in this knowledge and takes the time to learn. And it really is simple to learn. If any of you who are asking the question had probably watched a single one of my live streams, and I realize there's only so many hours in a day, but I mean, if you guys are sitting there watching ball games and, you could probably make the time. So anyway, this is how you read it. So I list stats. Tigers are 2-1 versus Yankees in 2019, first game in Detroit for this year. And Detroit Tigers does equal 79, which is the 22nd prime. There was a 22-date numerology. This game didn't pay anything. If a game doesn't pay anything, I don't advise betting on it. But the logical part of my brain would have thought the Yankees would have won this game to make the Tigers 2-2 versus the Yankees. But this isn't a great game. Something I teach about every single day. And realize you will get games wrong with this knowledge, but you're going to get a lot more right than wrong. I'm going to make that point right here. Braves at Phillies. Phillies were a good payout today. They were a big underdog. If you can pick up a win on a date numerology, in most sports, that's a great sign. In baseball's where it's the least consistent, but it's still helpful in baseball. So Philadelphia had a shot at their 31st win versus the NL East, and notice how the notes are. At the very top, it starts with the date numerology. That's why that number's referenced. It's not a random number. It's in regards to the date numerology. And again, you want to look for more than just the date numerology in baseball. But the Phillies had a shot at their 31st win, which is a positive sign. And when you started to look at Fried's stats, he was 10-5 away for his career, a number that we talk about all the time with Philadelphia. And this is the thing about watching every day. You learn the really repetitious patterns. Because when I do the long decode, I'm teaching every day, and I'm being repetitious so that the people who pay attention, they get this knowledge in their head. You see? They get this knowledge in their head, and then they learn to recognize the patterns, and then they don't have to rely on somebody else to do it for them. You see? But anyway, 106, a number that hits a lot. So these are two very positive signs for the Phillies, who were a good payout today. I always acknowledge the other riddles too. There was a chance that Fried could improve to 11-5 because Philadelphia's 115, 11's the fifth prime, 11-5, 115. But the thing is, I'll routinely say, if you can get the gematria that links up with the full name as opposed to one part of the name, like the city or state or the nickname, it's stronger when it's both. And 106 comes up with a lot with Philly. The Dodgers at the Orioles. Orioles are 5-7 versus the Dodgers all time. That means with a loss, they can become 5-8, a number that hits all the time with Baltimore. Baltimore's 58. When Baltimore scored that last touchdown with Jackson, they put up the 58th points, and then they kicked the extra point for one more to 59, which is the number stamped all over Black history. And right at the start of the season, ESPN ran the story 2019, the year of the black quarterback. And if you want to know why they did that, it's because this code of letters and numbers is biblical, and the narratives every year are biblical. This year ended the 400 years of slavery in America. Or I shouldn't say it ended it, but this year marked 400 years of slavery in America. And if you know the biblical prophecy, after 400 years, the mistreatment ends. Keep in mind, the only two black quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl in the NFL both have connections to 42. The word slavery is 42. The N-word's 42. The word Negro is 59. The word slave is 59. 59, 42, always coming together, and it's a biblical prophecy. These people who script it, they mock the biblical riddles. Anyway, so that things like that can be very strong. And Buehler, he was 12-3 for the season. He was going for his 13th win. Baltimore equals 41, the 13th prime. Prime numbers, very important in this study. Buehler was going for his 12th, or excuse me, I didn't finish this note. Typically, I'll write out, or excuse me, yeah, that's what it is. Buehler is 21-8 for his career. Remember, 22 date numerology, so he can pick up that 22nd win on the 22 date. And Block could fall to 1-2 versus LA 13. So a lot of numbers lining up here. Another game that's not a great payout, but again, you can see the narrative. And oh, by the way, the Dodgers clinched a playoff spot today, 42 days before the start of the World Series. Orioles equals 42. Orioles also sums to 93 in this study, so does NL West. And remember, we've been talking about this riddle with the Yankees and the Dodgers ever since the blackout in New York, July 13th, on the 42-year anniversary of the last blackout in that series, where the Yankees won 4-2 over the Dodgers. Dodgers equals 117. This is the Yankees' 117th season. So that's a very possible narrative, and these are the types of things you want to keep track of. The Red Sox and Blue Jays. Toronto, we noted, could get its 22nd win against the NL East on the 22 date numerology over Boston. Boston's a big city that equals 22. Boston in basketball both summed to 22 and 85. And think about how that city leads the NBA in championships. Not an accident. NBA equals 17. Boston has 17. So we saw the Blue Jays could become 7-10 versus the Red Sox. 7-1-0. Boston Red Sox equals 71. The Blue Jays, for those of you who don't know the scores today, I guess I should put up the scores as we go through this. Here's the scores for the day of these notes. Yelich, his full name's 115, 115th World Series. But here, let's just go through the games we've been talking about. We haven't even gotten to a lot of these yet. So Blue Jays, they did upset the Red Sox today. Great payout game. Dodgers, they beat the Orioles. Phillies did beat the Braves. The Yankees did lose to the Tigers. Now, again, that's why I don't advise betting on big games, because it's not worth the risk. You know, the point is to make smart risks. If a game hardly pays anything, unless it's lock city. I mean, if it's absolute lock city, I mean, like I say, a small payout game pays more than the bank will pay you in interest in a century at this rate. But, you know, it's about making the smarter bets. And with this knowledge, you can put together small parlays that play big. So, games we're going over so far. Did I close that by accident? Let me zoom this back in. Whoops. Or actually, I got the notes up right here. My fault. Forgot I did it. Normally, when I'm doing the live stream, I use the notes from there. So anyway, just going through these games, you know. So far, we've looked at 1, 2, 3, 4 games. And if you would have bet on all 4 of those, you would have hit on 3 out of 4. The Yankees game would have been the least worth it. The Diamondbacks at the Mets. The Mets look like a great bet today. Wheeler had a chance to become 11-7. In his last game, he became 10-7 versus the Washington Nationals. So we had him to win that game. Washington Nationals equals 107. 2 Mets pitchers in that series became 10-7 versus the Nationals. You watch the patterns, you learn the code, you see what they're doing. So Wheeler, today he had a chance to become 11-7. And Arizona Diamondbacks equals 117, a number that's shown up a lot with the Diamondbacks. You realize how repetitive these numbers are when you learn them, how often they show up in the riddles throughout the season. Zach Wheeler, the pitcher, even equals 117. Today has 31 date numerology, the 11th prime. He's getting his 11th win of the season. You know, I'll bold things, and I'll do a better job about bolding more things, but I'll always bold something if it just like really screams out. Sometimes when I copy over, it loses the formatting, but try to be more mindful of that. So, but this Wheeler riddle was screaming today, and you know, the Mets, they won their game, and let's see, next one, Brewers at Marlins. So Miami could pick up the 22nd loss versus the NL Central on the 22 day. So the Miami had the 22 date numerology going against them. And there were a lot of things that were back and forth here. I bolded this right here because Chase Anderson will face the Cardinals next. St. Louis equals 74. And I guess what I should have done with this is had it right up here. For newer people, it was probably harder to catch this, but he had a chance to become 7-4 for the season. And a lot of times I'm making the notes. I'm speaking to the people who listen most days, so they know what I mean. But we always track how often a pitcher can go into their next matchup with a record that. Or hold on, where's that game at? Brewers Marlins. So here the Brewers win. And you'll notice, I want you to understand this, that pitcher did not get the decision. His team did win. So it was a good sign he would win. But you have to think about it logically. So the reason it's a good sign even if he doesn't get the decision is because we know who he's facing next, right? Chase Anderson, the starting pitcher. We'll see how many innings he pitched. So he went 4 innings and gave up 2 earned runs. So didn't get the decision. But the reason it's a good sign that his team's going to win, he could get the no decision, his team could lose, but still, you'll notice more often than not when you follow these patterns, if they have a good sign, it's a good sign for the team. And now he can become 7-4, very possibly in the next start against St. Louis. You see who he's going to face next, who equals 74. And I guess I wrote right here, with the win, he is 7-4 for season. I should have bolded that too. The Nationals at the Twins. Through the head-to-head record, something very clear here. The Twins are 4-2 at home versus the Nationals. With a win, they can be 5-2. Minnesota's 52, where the game's being played. Tomorrow, if they win, they'll be 6-2. Minneapolis is 62. Remember, Super Bowl 52 was in Minnesota. Tom Brady came in the prior quarterback. If you go in the prior Super Bowl 51, if you go back and look, Tom Brady had 62 completions, a record. And I told people that day, I said, chalk him up for Minneapolis next year with Super Bowl 52. And sure enough, he was there. So you just realize how repetitive these numbers are. Now, I want you to understand, sometimes the patterns are there and the games don't come through. But the point is, in gambling, to win more than you lose, you follow this knowledge on a daily basis, you're going to win a whole lot more than you're going to lose. Look how many games we've gone through so far, and how many have been incorrect. So far, 1. So far, 1 game. 1 game. And, Twins Nationals, the Twins won 5-0 today. Washington equals 50. When you learn the code, you start to see the riddles in the scores day after day. Riddles upon riddles upon riddles. Blue Jays play on the 43rd parallel. Los Angeles equals 37. Los Angeles Dodgers equals 73. Philadelphia equals 65. The city established on the day, leaving 65 days left in the year, October 27th. Detroit equals 37, the 12th prime. They win with 12 runs. 23 combined runs. Detroit Tigers equals 83, the 23rd prime. Detroit, Michigan equals 83. Detroit's on the 83rd meridian. The Mets-Diamondbacks game's got me stumped, but we'll see what tomorrow's game is. Sometimes the score's a clue for the numbers you'll see on the board for the next game. 32, I don't know it right now. Brewers Marlins 4-3, the 14th prime. M is the 14th letter in reverse, both teams with the M on the cap. Washington equals 50. Rays Rangers game's got me right now. Could be a clue for tomorrow. I'll have to take a peek at that. Chicago wins 3-7. Chicago 37. 28 runs right here. Houston, Texas. No. 28 runs. I'm going to have to think about that one. And Cardinals, Rockies. Sometimes I don't see the clue right away. You got to think deeper about it. But almost every single day you'll be able to look at the majority of them in an instant with this knowledge and see why they did the score the way they did it. And that's how people win huge 2 days ago. See, if you guys aren't listening to the show each day, you're missing out. 2 days a caller called in and said how he won huge. by just using my MLB cheat sheet and following the end of the games and doing prop bets on where the score and over-under was going to be based on the team gematria. Like, for example, if the score is 3-6 in the bottom of the seventh and you get a good bet for just one more run, and you're like, wait a minute, both teams have the 37 connection, I bet there's a good chance one more run is scored. You see, that's what he called in the other day, and he said he went on a whole bunch of huge prop bets. If you guys aren't listening to the show, you're missing out. Day after day, callers talking about how they turned, small money into big money, and how by staying with this knowledge, they've never done so well. And realize, if you are a gambler, you will be able to take this knowledge to the next level. I saw some guy in the chat named John who said he's new here and he's not impressed because he doesn't see how this knowledge can possibly help you with anything. And I was like, well, I don't know. He could be a new troll here too, but I'm making this video for John and all the other new people I see here who are just saying, hey, I need help understanding these notes. The Rays at the Rangers. Tonight's game, Yarbrough on the mound for Tampa Bay had a chance at his 12th win of the season. Rangers is 37, the 12th prime. He had a chance at his 28th career win. Rangers is 107, the 28th prime. There was a little risk through the date numerology, but like I said in the live stream, that riddle's the weakest. And we saw that Lynn, his next career start would be against the Athletics. Oakland Athletics 97, Athletics 97, and he's at 96 career losses, meaning he could go into that game with 97. That's tricky though. Sometimes a player will pick it up before they get there and go in like he's going to do with his. Or no, excuse me. What I am saying is true. I'm reading this backwards though. So Lynn is on 96 career wins. His next win will be his 97th. And the thing that's tricky about this is sometimes a guy will pick it up a game early and go in with it, but a lot of times he won't, and he'll pick it up against that team. So if Lynn beats the Athletics in his next start, he'll get his 97th win. Which also kind of, when you already see that another pitcher has a good alignment to beat the team that he's facing, you can put that knowledge together and be like, okay, I see. So Yarbrough can pick it up and he can wait till the next one. And that's what ended up happening here. Because Tampa Bay, where's their game at? They won today 5-3. One of the scores I can't figure out. The Royals at the White Sox. The White Sox had a chance at their 31st win or loss, so read the notes carefully because that makes things dicey. But down here, you'll see that I bolded these parts of the notes. Nova, who's the White Sox pitcher, he had a chance to become 8-6. And we know from following the code, Kansas City Royals equals 86. We see a lot of patterns with 86. And that's the thing, if you look at this every day, you're going to figure out which numbers, because you know how there's multiple ciphers? You'll notice that out of those numbers, there's certain numbers that seem to hit a lot with certain teams and other numbers not so much. And if you're paying attention day after day, if you're taking notes, if you're following these notes, and I encourage you to have a piece of paper and a journal and jot down what you recall each day when you write things with pencil and paper. It helps more. But Nova, he had a chance to become 8-6 today. Guaranteed rate field where he plays 86. These things matter. His team wins. 3-7, Chicago 37. Athletics at Astros. So we saw that the Astros had a chance at the 38th win or the 31st loss on the 31 date numerology. And sometimes I'm talking out loud and not jotting down what I should. Oakland does equal 31, so good day to get the 31st loss against a team with a 31 connection. Houston also equals 31, and Houston and 31 is a huge number in this study. So I was probably talking about that and forgot to write it down because, again, I write this stuff down almost every day, so apologies. But for new people, that would have been a valuable thing to see there. And then I'll write down just some of the other scenarios because, again, I'm not trying to blindside anybody. I'm trying to help people look at this and be like, well, wait a minute, a whole lot of things lined up for that team. And then that's how you can make an intelligent choice and have confidence and learn to realize the worth of this work. This is why I do it this way every single day. And then Cardinals at Rockies. Pointing out, if Rockies win one game, they'll have 97 wins. 97 is the 25th prime. St. Louis is 25. You'll notice that a lot of series will end on a win or loss. You know how teams play respective series throughout the year, throughout their years in the league. You'll notice a lot of times when a series ends, it ends on a number that's symbolic to at least one of the two teams when it's possible, which is a lot. And so anyway, there was a chance that the Rockies win one of the series. Cardinals are red hot right now. The Rockies were 0-4 versus St. Louis coming into this game. I pointed out if they won, they'd be 1-4. St. Louis is 43 the 14th prime. Colorado's 43 the 14th prime. So becoming 1-4 against them makes a lot of sense. And I guess if I was like brand new here and I'd never thought about numbers, and like maybe I would look at the 0-4 and wouldn't connect what I was communicating here with 43 and 14th prime, but again, that's why I'm making this video, because I was just thinking, I was like, well, maybe some people, like, they're just not, like, seeing the patterns and they need it more laid out for them. So, again, this video is for people like that who might be John, who's supposedly new here and not a troll and leaving a lot of critical comments because he doesn't understand the work. So, anyway, also talked about how if the Cardinals sweep, they would get to 38 wins. Colorado equals 38. It's the 38th state. But there's multiple scenarios in this one. If the Cardinals lose 2 out of 3, they could also get to 38 losses. If you see a one-way street with Colorado and 38 in any sport, it is almost always a good sign, you know. So we saw that Chichi Gonzalez, he was winless this year. He came into this game 0-6. If he won, today was an interesting day because it was his 239th day of his age, the 52nd prime. Coors Field's 52. We see a lot of rituals with that number in Coors Field. So Chi gets his first win of the season and stays on 14 career losses against St. Louis, 43 the 14th prime. He became 3-6 at home for his career. Cardinals 36. The Pirates at the Giants. The Giants had a chance at their 31st home win. Is this game still ongoing? So the Giants are up big. It's not over. It might finish here 5-0 because San Francisco's 50. That's a number that hits a lot with San Francisco. They hosted Super Bowl 50, San Francisco. So that could be a prop bet. And sometimes you will get burned, but let's just see if the game finishes at 5-0. San Francisco 50. Giants is 25. So that's the other thing. That's the other thing that I should know. Let's just say that for sake of argument, Pirates hit Pirates are up right now, 2 outs and man on first. Let's just say the Pirates hit a 2-run home run and the score became 2-5 and you got another prop bet. Will another run be scored in this game? Well, another number that hits with the Giants all the time is 25. Giants equals 25. SF is 25. 25 rituals all day with the Giants. So that's how, like, say you did a $10 prop bet at 10-1 odds. You could turn $10 into 100, which a lot of these sites do, things like that. And, you know, that's how people are hitting with this knowledge every day, day after day. And let's see. So the game's not over, but that could be another one that's right on the list. And Indians at Angels. Let's see. But anyway, Giants were another team that had the date numerology. And you want to pay attention to date numerology because in baseball it ebbs and it flows. It gets hot and then it goes ice cold. And most sports aren't like that, but baseball is for whatever reason. So the Indians and Angels game. What I described in the live chat today is this is a game that was pretty dangerous. If the Angels did win, though, they'd be 1-4 versus the Indians. LA's 14, Indians is 43, the 14th prime, so that's possible. Division head-to-head records like that throughout the season, they matter for all teams, but they're the strongest when they're division matchups, teams that play in the same division rather than in the same league or in MLB. So I made a note that if the Indians won 2 out of 3, we talked about this yesterday, they'd get to 85 wins. Los Angeles Angels equals 85. Again, you can bet to win series. If you see that there's numbers that line up and it's a one-way street, you can often project who will win the series and what the win outcome will be by the time it ends. And let's see. Also, I'll leave notes for the games the day ahead. This is why you want to read the notes. So like I wrote for tomorrow, and we can watch tomorrow to see if this happens. Peters can fall to 3-3 with a loss for Cleveland. Cleveland equals 33. So does Anaheim, where Los Angeles plays, or the Angels play. He could also fall to 6-7 for his career with a loss. Cleveland Indians is 67. So a loss would make so much sense for him tomorrow. And then Plutko with the win can improve to 11-9 in the team he plays for. Indians equals 119. So, again, riddles like this, they come through a lot more often than they don't. But, sometimes you'll think you have the greatest riddle in the world and it won't come through. That's something that does happen. But, this is how this knowledge is. You learn to use this knowledge. You learn to look at it. You're going to find yourself winning a whole lot more than losing. Okay? But it's repetition. You're only going to get this in your brain, and you want this in your brain. Especially, listen, I'm not trying to advocate for gambling. What I am trying to advocate is for helping people take advantage of a corrupt system that does something by a very repetitive code, which I've proven very thoroughly in the last 6 years. There's no doubt about it. For those of you who are new here, the first time the mainstream media wrote an article about me was right here. USA Today, Zachary K. Hubbard. And this was a mistake by them, because it helped people see that my work was valid. Conspiracy theorist proves Freemasons rigged AFC and NFC championship games, which was a really disingenuous title because what I had done in October was say why the Broncos would beat the Panthers, why Von Miller would be the MVP, why the game would be a tribute to Super Bowl 24, and why there'd be a Black Panther tribute at the game. And all of those things happened. Broncos beat the Panthers. Von Miller was the MVP. The winning score was 24. It's because the Broncos got smoked in Super Bowl 24 by the 49ers with 55 points. 49ers equals 55. The Broncos were 55 years old the year of Super Bowl 50. John Elway was 55. The riddle was just the clearest thing on earth. Cam Newton, became the 58th quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. Huey P. Newton equals 58, who established the Black Panther Party. Think about it, Newton, and he established it in the Bay Area the same year as the first Super Bowl season, which was 66. NFL 66. 66 is the 11th triangular number. But I really exposed the NFL hard that year. And it's too bad that they deleted my old channel because they even posted my videos here, which helped just people find my work. And, a man calling himself Zachary K. Hubbard, if that is his real name. See, it's just like, this article's such bullshit. The mainstream media knows how to investigate if a person's a real person. And yes, that is my name. People know where my address is. People have my phone number. Anyway, very disingenuous article. And at the end, he actually admits that it is Freemasonry that's doing it. Just like how Larry Johnson came out this year with his tweets about Freemasonry and the conspiracy in the NFL. Anyway. Yeah, but anyway, coming back to this game, this Indians and Angels game. Indians are crushing the Angels. And sometimes it's funny that way. Sometimes the games that are really clear reads are blowouts. But honestly, this game was not clear to me tonight. Indians are beating the Angels, but it wasn't clear to me by any stretch of the imagination that the Indians would win tonight, other than they will win the series, which they're on their way to doing. So that's why I advise you all day. You can take the Indians to win the series. Wait till tomorrow, because tomorrow you have a great pitcher matchup. And then the Cubs and the Padres. So the Cubs are another team with a chance at the 31st win on the date numerology. Right now they're trailing. They're down 5-6. And again, this is where that knowledge can come in handy if you're doing real-time betting. Like, for example, you guys, this is how you can win. You can bet $1 and win $100. It's the 8th inning. The Yankees are down 8-1. at Boston playing the Red Sox. David Price started the game 85 days from his birthday. Boston equals 85. Red Sox equals 85. There's a prop bet right now that if the Yankees score 4 runs, it pays 100 to 1. Or 4 runs before the end of the game. Why not bet $1 on that, knowing that if the Yankees score 4 runs, the score is going to be 8-5. Boston equals 85. Red Sox equals 85. The game was 85 days from David Price's birthday. Red Sox 85 rituals drop all the time. You know, that could be your bet of the day. You're sitting there waiting for your best bet of the day with this knowledge. Because, you guys, again, I'm not trying to advocate for gambling. What I'm trying to say is it's a rigged system. They're purposefully legalizing gambling to rake up more money from the populace. This is what they're doing. This is why they're legalizing right now. Government needs more money. They're going to suck it up through legalizing plants that should have been legal a long time ago. You know, that they kept away from people because they want pharmaceutical giants to rule over us. They want, man-made drugs instead of the ones that come from the earth because they don't want people harvesting the medicine. They want it that it has to be, in the expensive pill form that can only be made in a laboratory. But this is what they want. That's why, finally weed's becoming legal. This is the game right now. They're trying to rake up more revenue from the public. But no, we're trying to beat the machine. This knowledge can help certain people beat the machine. You can make $1 bets a day waiting for your crazy payout dollar bet off this knowledge. And this is what people are doing here every day, if you don't know that. People who are following this work are making a bunch of money betting low amounts of money. We had multiple people hit bets, $1 parlays that paid out nearly $200 on college basketball this year because the patterns are so repetitive. We have a bunch of almost stories too. A week ago we had the guy who bet a $10,000 prop bet and one of the picks didn't come through. $10 would have made him $40,000. And those are going to get hit, So anyway, Cubs-Padres. Let's see what else was in that game. Cubs do have a chance at the date numerology. The game's not over. The Padres are 1-3 versus the Cubs in 2019. If they lost, San Diego equals 43 the 14th prime. But San Diego Padres also sums to 83 the 23rd prime, so there's an argument for a 2-3 record as well. This is why not all games are clear, And this weekend in the NFL, for example, I'll come back to it actually. We'll finish these baseball games, and then I want to tell you about something that happened with the Bills and Jets game this weekend, which I got on the wrong side of. Quintana had a chance at his 14th win today. That's the Cubs pitcher. And if you read these notes and you don't know the names of the pitchers, what you need to do is go to a place like ESPN or MLB.com and just look at the game notes because it'll tell you which team they pitched for. And again, if you follow this, you're gonna learn what teams they play for because these guys pitch every 4 or 5 days. We saw that Quintana could stay on 22 losses on a 22-date numerology. He was facing the San Diego Padres, which equals 79 as well, the 22nd prime. Or San Diego Padres 83, the 23rd prime, could get his 23rd loss with the Cubs. And we also noticed that the Cubs win 2 out of the next 3 games. They will get to 79 wins. San Diego Padres 79. So that's a likely outcome. But you want to make sure you look both ways. Make sure you're not missing a riddle on one side. Even I do that. Even a veteran who knows the numbers. That's why it's good to be thorough. Sometimes I miss something that's right in front of my face. And I told people in the live stream today this was a throwaway game. I said I wouldn't mess with the Reds or Mariners game. I didn't have a read on it. And Mariners are a team that squander a lot of good riddles. So that you learn some teams to just be like, I'm not crazy about their games unless they have like the most awesome read. And sometimes they do. So... Whoa, I would have been wrong. I almost wonder if they're watching in real time. Really? So, wow, the Pirates, they went past it. 5-0 and 5-2 got past. Well, so now my next thought is, and this is where you can progress through this knowledge, because remember, like say you're betting $1 at a time. You bet $1 on 5-0. Shoot, it became 5-2. And now it's 5-4. You're like, shoot, you missed on 5-0 and 5-2. You're betting $1, right? Now there's a new bet that pays 5-1 if no more runs are scored in this game. Oracle is 54. That's the name of the ballpark they play in. So I did think it would finish on 5-0 or 5-2. Very funny. And by the way, 54 is a big baseball number. The word baseball equals 54. There's 54 outs in a game. So the name Oracle for a ballpark makes a lot of sense. Of course, they had the sponsorship where the Warriors played as well, Bay Area. But, and also watch things like pregame.com. Pregame.com is a website you can use to see where the publics put their money. So, if a game has a 1.5 run line and, 93% of the money's on the team covering the 1.5 runs, and you see this, a close game, that's where you realize, like, maybe they are going to tighten this one up more too, because they want to make sure they're not paying out to 93% of the public. Because that's how this is. This is all fixed. What do you think there's a telephone for in every dugout? Where do you think those calls are coming from? Covering the mouth, talking to Caesar's Palace. And that's why you wanted to learn this knowledge, because I'm glad that just happened, because it does show, like, sometimes how you can get frustrated. You're like, really? They went off 5-0 in San Francisco? And then you're like, I know it 5-2, because that's what always hits with the Giants. And trust me, these things are true when you follow this every day. But now you're like, wow, okay. It didn't hit the 5-0 or the 5-2. Okay, well, I know the next number in the progression is 54, because Oracle's 54. And I'll tell you what, if you missed on that, I'd probably just say, okay, this game is really messing with me, because things like that typically don't go the way, but it can happen. But by knowing the knowledge and what the numbers represent, you can start to see, like, okay, I'm not going to get fooled a third time, right? And I'm going to laugh if I do. It doesn't typically happen, but again, it does serve a point. But yeah, so if you went through the notes today, and I even left an extra tip up at the top, I believe, of that note, saying, like, look at the Wheeler riddle. Because if you just want one game for the day, you want one winner, Or maybe, I swore I did. Maybe I didn't. Could have sworn I left a note to look at the Wheeler game. Oh, I might have on Patreon, because I copied and pasted these notes from my clipboard again instead of getting it from the old Patreon post. So maybe if you go to the old Patreon post, it does say look down at the Wheeler notes. A lot of people just want the best game. But there were a lot of good games today, and the ones that we liked as good games, they came through. So anyway, this one's for the new guys. I hope I didn't make it too long so you don't watch it. But if you did, should serve you well. Till next time, and good luck.